Hey guys, Sykohtic here, what's cracking? And today I'm bringing you something a little bit different. Okay, what this is called crazy classes. And what we're going to be doing in this series is sort of taking some of the less used guns and attachments and sort of throwing them together in combinations that actually seem to work. And what I'm going to try to do is provide for you some of these classes that I fabricated that others might see as a bit crazy, and try to explain them to you in such a manner that you understand why, and maybe you'll even find something that you're interested in using that you can actually do quite well with. So without further ado, let's move right into our subject of the day, the CBJ-MS. Now this gun is not exactly common by any means, let it be said. You rarely see anyone use it. It's sort of considered the mini Uzi of this game. It's got a very short damage range. It's got a very high rate of fire, and it's not exactly considered the most powerful gun in the game. Just a lot of people use it for kicks and giggles, to be honest with you. It's just sort of a mini Uzi. It's very close range, and it's not used by a lot of people, which means it's a perfect candidate for our series. Going into damage with the natural gun, no attachments, no anything. 35 max, 17 min, which is based on the class average, high and low. 35 max damage is not great, it's not the worst, but it's definitely nowhere near the highest. Minimum damage is also low based on the class average, and also low based on the high, but of course, being 2 points above the low, still not too bad. The drop-off rate for the damage on this gun, it starts at about 9 meters, which is still lowest damage drop-off in class, and at about 15 meters is where it just flattens out and says, okay, this is as weak as I'm going to get. Which is, again, is the lowest amount of range in class. It's a very short range weapon, which is the big weakness. Bullets to kill, it's going to take you, at max damage, it's going to take you about 3 bullets to kill somebody. At minimum damage, it's going to take you about 6 bullets to kill somebody. However, the firing rate is spectacular at 1,000 rounds per minute, which is the highest in its class. And plus you get the special armor piercing rounds of this that don't actually do much in the way of piercing walls, but more in the way of piercing things like body armor, juggernaut, things like that. It's going to maintain more damage on those sorts of people. As far as recoil, you see this accuracy plot here, and basically this is what we're looking at here is a balanced recoil to the left, right, and upward directions. It does not recoil in a southern direction at all, which is a very unique thing to this gun, because most other guns do have some recoil in the negative direction, or in the southern direction. This one, however, has a recoil that basically oscillates very quickly side to side and moves upward, meaning it has a sort of very triangular sort of recoil. And this means that when you're aiming down the sight, the gun is guaranteed to raise in an upward direction, so you can sort of correct and predict where your shot's are going to go in an extended burst of fire. Aim down sight is at 0.2 seconds, which is average for this class, and not at all common, so it does go down the sights very, very quickly, which is, again, just average for this class. It's a submachine gun. Ammo at start is 102, the maximum you can carry for it is 204, and the magazine carries 34 rounds. This is not the least, but it's certainly not the most. It's not fantastic, and it's especially considering how fast you go through ammo at 1,000 rounds per minute. The saving grace of this gun is also its greatest downfall in a way, because it starts out with such a low amount of ammo. And as you'll see in the class that we have figured out for it, or that I figured out and going to give to you, it's not necessarily something that can really be fixed within the class. As far as reload goes, when the gun's fully empty, meaning no shots in the chamber, no nothing, it'll reload at 3.6 seconds, which is a relatively high. In fact, it's probably the highest in the class. Bullets still being in the clip or in the chamber, you're going to have a reload time of about 3 seconds, which is still relatively high. Now, moving on to our applied class here, what we're going to be doing is attaching grip and a VMR sight. Now, the idea of this class is to be very fast, to be very close range, and it's built as a high-speed rushing class where the goal is to keep moving and play down the opponent's throat. You want to play very smash mouth. You want to be in their face all the time with this class. Basically, what we've got here is a class that is meant to utilize the CBJ's close range abilities to their maximum extent. So, the perks we're adding are sleight of hand, stalker, steady aim, dead silent, and focus. Now, the actual damage remains the same. You still have the 35 to 17 min and max. You still have 3 shots max, 6 shots min damage, and still the same damage ranges. However, with the grip, our recoil is reduced by 10% horizontally and upwardly, meaning that you greatly reduce the recoil in all directions. And really, this makes the recoil of this gun very controllable. You can actually put a little bit of focus into it and a little bit of thought into it, and you can keep the gun relatively on target. Especially in longer range situations, you can burst fire it a little bit and you can really keep it accurate. Now, the next thing is we added focus in here, which means that opponents shooting back at you are not going to throw your recoil all over the place, or at least not as much. Generally, you're going to be able to keep your recoil very under control, which is a big thing for this gun. Because if you can control the recoil and keep it down, then you can obviously land more shots on target. Now, the biggest, weirdest thing that you're probably saying right now is, why are we using a VMR sight? Okay, I'm using a VMR sight of a blue halo in here. Now, this is more of a subjective thing, but if you can get past having that large zoom sight pushed off the side at all times on your gun, you can just get used to that bulk, then the non-zoom is an exceptional sight. While some of the reticles are very restrictive, if you put a little time and get a little bit smaller one like the blue halo, it opens up better than the reflex in my opinion. It's got more space to view your opponent in front of you. It sort of gives you a better feel of control in my opinion. And really, the reticle itself just seems to focus better with the weapon's recoil. Sort of, whenever you have a small reticle like that in such a big sight, it really opens up on the sides and lets you see more of what's in front of you. So, you know, a reflex has that awkward polygon shape that, you know, you can see the person very in front of you that you're going to be shooting very well. You can still see people off the side of that person. What the VMR does is it really opens it up and lets you see, okay, just how many people are here. It lets you prioritize your shots and lets you really put shots down the throat very quickly and very accurately. In my opinion, it focuses your attention very quickly on target. But again, like I said, this is very subjective, and if you'd rather use the reflex, that is completely up to you. Note that what we're essentially trying to do here is maximize the close range capability of the CBJ by focusing our shot clusters as directly into our opponent at relatively close range as possible. Literally 5 or 10 meters away. That's a preferable range. Now, being that the recoil pattern is very controllable, gunfights at 20 meters that's not unwinnable. It's very easy to win those gunfights if you really hit them hard with the shots very quickly, which is, like I said, the high fire rate coupled with a very controllable recoil pattern is going to result in a weapon that really pushes the envelope in as far as the light, medium to very close range goes, simply because you're going to put those shots on them very quickly and very accurately at close range. Now, sleight of hand is obviously going to reduce the amount of time that it takes for you to reload, which, as you saw before in the original stats, is a very big Achilles heel to this weapon. It reloads very slowly, naturally, but if you add in the sleight of hand, it reloads rather quickly so that you can push in harder on your opponents and not have to worry about running out of ammo in the middle of a gunfight and not being able to find the time to reload. I would give it 7 to 8 times out of 10, you are going to be able to reload very quickly in between engagements in just that really tiny window before someone comes around out of spawn after you've just killed somebody, or someone picks up on your location in the mini because you just shot and revealed your location. Now, we still have Stalker and Dead Silent to address. Now, Stalker, of course, when you're aimed down the sight, you want to be able to keep moving very, very fast with this class. You cannot slow down with it at all. You have got to keep moving very, very fast at all times. So what Stalker allows you to do is allows you to keep scoped in and keep your accuracy up with the weapon, but to keep moving quickly. So you can scope in, you can move around a corner very fast, you can already be ready and already be there right with your fast fire rate to stop whatever might be around that corner. Now, Dead Silent is obviously so they can't hear you coming, so you makes you a little bit more unpredictable. Sure, you show up on the mini-map when you shoot, but it makes you much more unpredictable when it comes down to, okay, where is this guy going to come from? Okay, I can't sound whore him, so I have to predict where he's going to come from, which takes a lot more thought and takes a lot more time to process and gives you an open window of opportunity to really hit them hard while they're not expecting you. Okay, so in closing, this class is designed as a very in-your-face concept. You must rush. If you sit back, try to camp with it, you're going to have a really hard time, you're going to get really frustrated, and you're going to hate the gun. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, because it's got no range, and at least not in this state, and really and truly it's outlandish that you would even try to do anything but just rush balls deep with this class. A motto I want to instill in you with this class is do not fire long enough to allow the recoil to become an issue. Let the fire rate do the work for you. This means that you don't need to be sitting there laying down 20 shots trying to kill somebody. At maximum, maybe 15. You should be able to kill 3 people on a single clip with this gun if you play it smart and if you pay attention to your ammo usage. The gunfire is very fast, which means it kills very quickly if you hit your shots on target. So there's a little bit smaller room for error with it, but it will kill very, very fast whenever your shots are accurate. What we've really done here is try to highlight the CBJ's aggressive nature up close by fixing the issues of recoil and reload rather than trying to get at more effective damage range. The problem is you're working with a gun that has a very short range to begin with, so adding that extra range with something like a muzzle brake is possible and it's a feasible concept, but in my eyes, with this class, what you want to try to do is highlight the perks of this gun. It's got a really aggressive firing rate and it's got a really aggressive power stance up close. If you utilize those to the maximum capability, then you have a lethal weapon. If you learn how to use this weapon, I assure you it's a lot of fun. It makes you laugh, it makes you giggle, just because you're using something that not a lot of people use, and yet you're still getting kills with it. You're still having fun with it. As you've seen in the gameplay, it is a good weapon. I mean, you saw the multi-kill there. That multi-kill, I just started mowing kids down one after the other, just taking them down, and they did not know what was hitting them because it was just killing them so fast. Anyway, guys, this has been Sykohtic with COD Ghost Crazy Classes. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like and comment if you did. There will definitely be more of these coming soon. So keep tuned in. Peace out.